The rain fell in sheets, turning the quiet streets of Briarhurst into a blur of glistening asphalt and distorted reflections. Streetlights flickered, casting erratic shadows that danced across the wet pavement. Desmond Ray gripped the steering wheel of his sedan, his knuckles white, as he navigated through the downpour. He had been appointed chief of police in Charlotte just weeks ago, a role he had embraced with a sense of purpose and determination. Tonight, however, he was just another man trying to get home. As he approached an intersection, red and blue lights erupted behind him. A patrol car signaled him to pull over. Confused, Desmond complied, guiding his car to the curb. Two officers approached, their faces obscured by the rain and the glare of their flashlights. "License and registration," one demanded. Desmond handed over his documents, his voice calm. "May I ask why I was stopped?" "Step out of the vehicle," the other officer ordered. Desmond hesitated. "Is there a problem, officer?" "Out. Now." He exited the car slowly, hands visible. Without explanation, they handcuffed him, pressing him against the hood of his car. "You're making a mistake," Desmond said, rain streaming down his face. "Quiet," one snapped. Inside the patrol car, Desmond sat drenched, his mind racing. He knew the procedures, the protocols, they were being ignored. At the precinct, Lieutenant Arlene Shaw reviewed the dash cam footage. Her brow furrowed as she watched Desmond's calm compliance contrasted with the officer's aggression. She stormed into the holding area. "Release him. Now." Desmond stood, his wrists sore. "Thank you, Lieutenant." "I'm sorry, Chief Ray. I had no idea." He nodded, the weight of the incident settling in. The courtroom buzzed with murmurs. Desmond Ray stood tall, his revelation as the chief of police hanging heavy in the air. The judge's gavel brought the room to order, but the tension remained palpable. Outside, media vans lined the streets, reporters eager for a statement. Desmond stepped out, cameras flashing. He raised a hand, signaling for silence. "This isn't just about me," he began, his voice steady. "It's about accountability. It's about ensuring that every person, regardless of who they are, is treated with the respect and dignity they deserve." The crowd erupted in applause, but Desmond didn't linger. He had more pressing matters to address. Back at the precinct, Desmond called an emergency meeting. Officers filled the room, their expressions a mix of curiosity and apprehension. "What happened to me wasn't an isolated incident," Desmond said, scanning the room. "It was a symptom of a larger problem. And as long as I'm chief, I won't tolerate it." He outlined new reforms: mandatory bias training, stricter oversight, and an anonymous reporting system for misconduct. The room was silent, his words sinking in. Over the following weeks, the department underwent a transformation. Officers attended training sessions, community outreach programs were initiated, and trust began to rebuild. Months later, at a town hall meeting, a young man stood up. "Chief Ray," he said, his voice cracking, "what you went through, it could have been me. Thank you for standing up for all of us." Desmond nodded, his heart heavy but resolute. "Change doesn't happen overnight," he replied. "But together, we can build a system that truly serves everyone." As the meeting concluded, Desmond lingered, watching the community come together. He knew the fight wasn't over, but he was ready for it. And now it's up to us, the community, to keep that fight alive. If we see injustice, we must speak up. If we want change, we must demand it. Together, we have the power to create a world where accountability isn't just a promise, it's a reality. If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. The flash drive trembled in Desmond Ray's hand. Outside the courthouse, voices roared, media, protesters, bystanders. But inside, it was dead quiet. He locked eyes with Sandra Lynn. Her face had gone pale. Not from fear, from certainty. She leaned in, whispering tightly, "Whatever's on that drive, it changes everything." Desmond nodded once, then stood. Every step to the courtroom felt heavier. His heart was pounding, not from nerves, from purpose. Back in session, Judge Hardley took the bench, stern as ever. The room buzzed, tension thick as wet smoke. Sandra wasted no time. "Your Honor, new evidence has come to light," she announced. Digital footage, unredacted, time-stamped, directly contradicting the official testimony given to this court. The prosecutor stood up immediately, objecting. "This is irregular. We haven't had a chance to verify." Overruled, Hardley snapped. "Let's see it." Sandra inserted the flash drive into the courtroom display system. The lights dimmed. First, dashcam footage. But not the one they'd already seen. This was from a second patrol car, Hallie and Lannett's backup, one that hadn't been disclosed in Discovery. It showed a completely different scene. Desmond's car didn't swerve. It stopped at every sign, signaled every turn. Then the audio kicked in. "Guy looks clean. Plate checks out," came a voice, Hallie's. "But we pull him anyway," Lannett replied. "Looks like a runner. Let's shake him." The courtroom froze. No movement. No breath. Then another voice, not an officer. A digital overlay. A time-stamped log from the department's internal system. Sandra paused the footage, turned to the judge. "We pulled access logs this morning. This footage? It was flagged. Someone tried to delete it, but they failed. This file was backed up by the department's audit server, a system that cannot be wiped manually." Another exhibit popped up. A screenshot. Access attempted by LT Arlene Shaw. The room exploded. The judge pounded the gavel, calling for order. Desmond's blood chilled. Arlene? The officer who had ordered his release? The one who had vouched for the truth? Sandra didn't pause. And it gets worse. A third file played. Internal audio, hidden mic surveillance, clearly unauthorized. "But traceable. He doesn't know who's really in charge," said a familiar voice. It was Arlene. "You think the chief's gonna stay quiet? He's a threat." Hallie responded, laughing. "Then we bury him. Just like the others." The final piece came on screen. An old department memo, marked confidential, dated 6 months prior. Unauthorized detentions, Briarhurst Division. Dozens of names, mostly black and Latino. All marked. Dismissed, no further action. Sandra let the silence stretch. "Your Honor, we are not dealing with 2 bad officers. We are looking at an orchestrated pattern. A culture of abuse. Protected from the top." Judge Hardley sat motionless. Desmond's hands were clenched, fingernails biting into his palms. His voice was low, steady. "I trusted Arlene," he said. "I trusted her with my life." That night came flooding back. Her face, her tone, her concern. All of it an act? No, not just that. A setup. Everything, the stop, the aggression, the delay in his release, it was scripted. And Arlene had played the most crucial part, the voice of reason. The one that gave the whole thing cover. Sandra sat down. "We rest, Your Honor." Hardly didn't speak for a long time. Then, "All charges against Chief Ray are dismissed with prejudice. This court recommends immediate investigation into the conduct of officers Hallie, Lannett, and Lieutenant Shaw." But the story didn't end there. News broke within the hour. Arlene Shaw had vanished. Not suspended. Not interrogated. Gone. Her house? Empty. Her bank accounts? Drained. Her phone? Disconnected. She was a ghost. And with her disappearance came more revelations. A whistleblower from Internal Affairs stepped forward. An anonymous source, protected under federal law. They released a statement. "The Briarhurst Division has been falsifying stops, arrests, and incident reports for over 3 years. At least 6 ranking officers are involved. Evidence was destroyed. Lives were ruined. The city erupted. Protests. Vigils. Press conferences. Desmond found himself not just chief, but symbol. A target. 2 weeks later, he was assigned a security detail. Standard procedure, the mayor had said. But Desmond knew better. This wasn't protection. It was containment. Damage control. Because someone up top was scared. And for good reason. Because Sandra had found one more thing. A pattern. From 3 years back. Every one of the falsified arrests. All tied to federal funding quotas. The department had received over $2.5 million in urban enforcement grants, based on inflated crime stats. More arrests equals more money. Desmond stared at the reports late into the night. Arlene had signed half of them. The police commissioner, Henrik Talbert, had signed the rest. A knock came at his door. Sandra stepped in. "There's something else," she said. Her voice was tight. Desmond motioned her in. She pulled out a folder. One of the names on those arrest logs. He filed a complaint. 2 years ago. He claimed he was detained, beaten, and told to keep quiet. Guess who signed off on dismissing the complaint? She laid down a photocopy. Signed, Desmond Ray. His blood turned to ice. "No," he muttered. Sandra nodded grimly. "Before your appointment. When you were in internal oversight. You were part of the review team. You didn't know then. But your initials are on the final page." He sat down slowly. It wasn't just about fixing the system. He had been part of it. Unwitting, unaware, but complicit. And now the evidence led back to him. Desmond didn't sleep that night. He sat in his apartment, lights off, folder open. The last page haunted him, his own signature. He stared at it for hours. What else had he missed? What else had he ignored? Then, just before dawn, his phone buzzed. A number he didn't recognize. No ID. No location. He answered. A voice, mechanically distorted, spoke. "You think this is over?" Click. Silence. Desmond stared into the darkness. And for the first time, he felt fear. Real fear. Because now he knew. This wasn't just about two rogue cops. This was a machine. And he'd just kicked it awake.